I would just want to quickly share the screen for the online one.
Just tell me, quickly remind me of your matrix. You do handicap?
No, we do star rated. So you decide the star grades score according to the criteria for each star. Then you are the actual sliding scale.
Okay, that's good.
And over our set subject, it's mixed together. So that's all in one. But you just score as is, as per salon, and then the score just pops up.
And 10, 11, 12 gold, 13, 14, 15 com.
Yes.
The way I learned. Perfect. And set subject, no comments?
You can comment.
Yes, please, you can.
Okay.
Title, Decayed Beauty.
Lovely image. I like that you almost desaturated the color on your strelitzias. The composition works very nicely. The highlights have been handled very well. And I think you are still achieving set subject with some beauty in the decay. Well done.
Rusty.
An engaging composition. I like your subject matter. I like the way you've placed all the elements together. That works very nicely. And you've filled the frame. You've even left a little bit on the top left of an identifiable element of these rusted nails. If it was all gone, I wouldn't be able to easily discern it. It is a very small little element, but this little bright spot here is just pulling my eye down. So well done. In terms of elevating your image up even higher, everything is very similarly toned. If you had made one a little bit brighter, maybe a little bit more vibrant, that would have made it really stand out. That would have improved your image.
Decaying timepiece.
Nicely seen. I see where the decay element is coming in terms of that ruby effect to make it look a little bit aged. Nice colour throughout, a little bit of the toning works quite nicely. A little bit of distractions in the background, not too bad, and I think you've cropped it out so that sufficient of it is blurred and out of focus. How could you have elevated your image? Decaying, this is all very crisp and clear, nice and bright. Maybe pull the radial gradient here, darkened it down a little bit. That could have also added to the aspect of your set subject.
What was in the belly?
To give a little bit of thought to this, decaying versus abandoned. Think about that. I'm going to leave that with you. Is this decaying, as in it was life and it's decayed? We took the clock on face value, so we're going to take this on face value as well. But is it leaning more towards decaying or more towards abandonment? That's up to you to decide. All right. I like the composition. That's nice. There's nice triangles in here, nice lines, even good shadows. Watch for that very, very bright area over there. But there is beauty in this, and it is a very interesting scene you've captured.
Where has the time gone?
Yeah, another one of those. In your storytelling, I can see the elements of abandonment, run down, it's been left to decay. Be very careful what you include in your image because these pompous are thriving, they're flowering, okay? Nice subject matter, perhaps a tighter crop, very bright white area up in the top here. Don't consider cropping it off there. Very close to the edge, I would have brought it just down here to improve your image. But here you've got very strong juxtaposition. These are very much alive, so be careful with that decaying concept. Thank you.
NLV decayed. Spelled very weirdly.
Please repeat.
NLV decayed.
And now.
ANELWI.
And now we.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I don't understand the title, but okay. Her name, maybe a name. Okay. All right, not a problem. I think in clubs, titles are important. We can't judge you on your titles, but if you don't understand the image, then you've got to look for something, and the title often helps us refer back to it. So in terms of salon and honours, titles aren't important. At a club level, it can actually help the judge understand you better. Okay. Decayed beauty. Beauty, definitely captured very nicely. I see all the elements of it. Maybe a little bit messy in terms of the hair, and you're giving that feeling of the shrivel, a little bit, other cracks and all of that. You've aged the process. So a very interesting portrait, lots of thought has gone into it. Yeah. I'll give the author benefit of the doubt.
Archway to destruction.
Nicely seen. I like the way the author has framed the outside with the natural elements so that we are actually forced to look through into it. By virtue of the brightest area my eye is going here, all the colour toning works nicely. A little brighter over here, but I think in terms of set subject, you've captured it well.
Foster decayed beauty.
Nice angle of view. We've limited the viewer's eye to a specific area. The decay definitely showing up in the degradation, things missing, lost. Definitely a proud structure with the supporting elements. And you've got nice blue light as well as lots of textures throughout. Well presented.
Also daar gehad.
We'll say daar gehad. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Also daar gehad.
Elsie daar.
No, all his days.
All his days.
He had all his days.
I'm going to you out of any use my Afrikaans is embarrassing. Sorry, guys. But I think Fraser, we are in the same boat here, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, a nice chaotic image. It's got a lot of elements that are disruptive. And you can find the beauty in all the textures, and you see the storytelling in it. Nice pops of color, nice shading, lighting, textures, rusty surfaces, and color somewhere. I beg your pardon, brightness somewhere. So although it's all pretty evenly toned around here in the yellows and oranges, my eye comes straight into the center point because of those two bright areas. Well achieved.
Gently take a seat.
It's like somebody heavy sat on that.
I was not there.
No, it was me. All the salons of the last few months I've got that. Okay. What I really like about this image is the simplicity of it. It's minimalist. The black and white has been so nicely handled. A little bit of a heavy vignette perhaps for some, but it really does work to draw your eye in. The whites are white, good tonality throughout, and profound storytelling. Well done.
Left in the corner.
Tell me this is not an apple. It's almost like something from the Adams family that you're hopefully not going to
Yeah.
have to.
Wednesday's
touch
apple.
it. Wow. Just by virtue of the fact that we've all engaged with this image, it makes you think, right? You're looking at it, you want to discern it. We all weigh in on it, giggle, a laugh, or whatever. It means the author's captured something that's caught our attention. How many images do we take? It's just regular gewone, right? It's just regular gewone. Not really thinking about it. There's a bite on here, a bite on there. Is this in a fish tank? Was this on Granny's shelf? What are all these hairs? I think it's a
witch.
witch. Yeah, seker maar. But I'm going to say it shouldn't just be the witch. It should be the male. What's a male witch? Warlock or a wizard. We can't get all the bad credits, especially Adam and Eve, right? Profound storytelling, very, very well done. Thank you. I hope it's not in your fridge, Anita.
It took me out actually last year, was the beginning of the year already, and then I reminded him, but what about that rotten apple?
No,
Wow.
Anita, you've just gone and blown our whole comment about this wasn't Eve that offered the apple. You reminded him about it, right? Yeah, it's biblical. It's biblical, man. Okay.
Uit die ruïnes. Uit die ruïnes.
Out of the room.
Yeah, out of the ruins.
Okay. Beauty and the decay, like the other one. Careful where you focus us on the beauty, it's there. There's a bit of the decay element, so you've definitely got the two together. Just balance it nicely, the colours are good. You've cropped off whatever wasn't necessary at the bottom, and it tells a nice story, good exposure. Looking at the light up here, cloud, the blue is a little bit pulled. You can pull that back just a slight bit, but otherwise nicely seen.
Yesterday's glory.
And the sad reality is, I'm not allowed to be political, but how many places in South Africa are starting to look like this? There's places that just get left on the side here. Okay, nice gabling, nice architecture. I like that you presented your image in a portrait. It really suits the composition. Had you had more this side, it might have been very loose. You've given us enough structure that it stands proud and a bit of foliage that adds to it. In this particular image, watch out for very bright areas here, losing a lot of color in the leaves and foliage. And unfortunately, what it does is it pulls my eye away from the textures. Just watch your exposure on that. Thank you.
DK Beauty K.
Tell me honestly, is anybody here feeling like I am and wishing you were at Congress? Yeah? I have got such a fear of missing out. It's tangible, and then you go and put up an image like this, and I just want to cry out. It's beautifully seen, lovely storytelling. You can see the fiberglass coming through here, the wooden beams, the old rope. There's the context, a very, very strong hero. And even though it's old and worn, it really is beautiful. I think you've managed it very well, and it's a super image.
Decaying beauty.
I really enjoy this new resurgence of what I call my granny's plants. It reminds me of going to visit my granny, and she had all these succulents in old milk cans and old rusted wheelbarrows, and there's really a good move to it, and I think this image captures it very well. Nice with set subject, beautiful green patina coming through on the rusts and the bricks, lovely foliage and a bright area at the top. Means of improvement, just because your image is building up to the top, just a little bit more space on the top. And I'm thinking your story is here, so we're reading up this way, pop it down here for an even stronger image. Thank you.
Glory long gone.
All the elements are really beautiful textures. We get an idea of this potentially having been quite a grand building, something more than just a little hut in the open veld, but also a story of what could have been quite beautiful, now decaying and trying to find what was once beautiful that's now just been left to rack and ruin. By means of improvements on your image, maybe pull the shadows a little bit more. I can see it's burnt around here, so I'm not worried about that. Maybe just a radial mask, put a little bit there. The detail, some dodging and burning throughout your image would have really brought impact. And then when you've got nothing in the sky like this, look at let's say we were going to divide this image, right? 25%, 25%, 25%, 25. Right up here, almost 25% of your image, no clouds, no extra information. So my eye just stops here. So a fine little crop there is more than sufficient and will bring our eye in even closer to your image. Thank you.
Can I just say something? Look, there's the elephant. Then you say that the shadows. The elephant head with his tongue.
Anita sien nie die agtergrond.
That part. And there's the tongue.
There's the trunk.
Okay.
I see elephants in it.
Yeah, you do. No. Soul decay.
Soul decay.
Soul decay.
The beauty of creative license is that you can create composites and stories that are entirely in your hands. So for some it might be soul decay, some live and die by Facebook, some watch Netflix all the time, TikTok, they live on this, and it's all red, and there's your Instagram. So I love your question in terms of which of these pillars of social media are actually bringing us down. And you can see the barcoding, you can go into the vertical side of it in terms of Marks East and blah, 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 in those areas. But does your composite work really well? Is it all cleverly thought out, lots of little elements all over? I think it is, and I think you've achieved that very nicely. Well done. Very nice to see you playing, Anita. And I'm not used to that. Okay. Very nice.
Last image for things withered.
It's lovely. If we can find beauty in things that are not all young and useful and nubile and fresh, and the color palette is simply sublime. The greens, the light coming in from the side. You can see the light fall is this way. Lovely textures. Soft focus on here, which I really like because everything is quite hard and crisp everywhere else. I think this image is quite enchanting as presented. Thank you.
We've got 4 images with a score of 13. And I would like to show you the images, please. And you can select the best one first. Al sy dae gehad. Left in the corner. DK Beauty K. And with it.
Show me one more time. You can go backwards if you like. Okay. They've all got the application. Sure. I'm going to go with this one. I think it's profound. Thank you.
Okay. If you give us a moment, we quickly want to set up. I think, can we quickly do 1 and 2 star? I don't think there's a lot. Sorry.
Are we going to category? Open color, open mono?
No, we're going to 1 star.
Yeah.
No.
Going to 1 star. African monarch.
Sorry, are we judging in nature? Are we judging individual categories?
Yeah, this will become mixed categories in 1 star. So
I'm going to get nature with portraits with
yes,
Yes.
all in color or color and mono.
different color, mono, all mixed up. Or would you prefer to do a nature separate
However you
from?
judge it,
Yeah.
because you might not have a lot of juniors.
Yeah, we only have a few.
There's only 6 images for 1 star.
And are you just looking for one winner in the
Yes,
6 images
yes.
you're showing? Okay,
Correct.
so it's not category, it's all open.
It's all open.
Okay, no problem. For 1 star, I think you have really exceeded expectation. The detail in this insect, here I say I'm here with the insect master, right? But the detail here is fantastic. Beautiful, you've got a nice view, lovely light across it, and you see it very well, it's all in focus. As this is your subject and your hero, you've given us something to bring it up to that works very nicely, and your background's nicely muted. By means of improvement somewhere going forward, there are a few bright areas. Here's your image. That's also bright. So here's your image, and you could just crop out everything above there. Just look how beautiful that is. Once you've seen this, and you've got the right composition, my eyes start to, boom, I'm straight there. I've met your hero. Pictures for future, not now. Going upwards and outwards, you take me out the image there. So let's contain it just to there. And that I think you've achieved very well.
Sorry. Okay, we've done that one. Next image, pigs in blue.
This is quite exciting. If you're 1 star and you're already thinking this creatively, I'm wondering where you're going to go. Because my mind can't do this. Interesting. Now storytelling. I'm wondering, have you personified these pigs? They look like people. I'm wondering which is the male, which is the female. Must be that one that's yakking, right? That's the male. He's moaning.
He's down, he's drunk.
Yeah. There you go. So what we've just basically said is there's a story in here, right? And you answer something good. If you can create art that stimulates conversation and is interesting, all the rules in that will follow, or maybe they won't. Don't know. Are there rules? I like what you've achieved. Nice that you've got a hero. Yes, definitely where our eyes leading us and up into here. I mean, it's a composition somewhere in the future. pop out all that bit, you'll see little bits there that just little dust spots. But that's where your story is now. Brighten up some areas because it's all similarly toned, but you brighten that one a little bit better, and you'd get I beg your pardon, even higher score. But I really like your effort for creativity's sake. Thank you. But of course, it's a Natasha, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm hiding.
Very cute, anonymous image. When I say anonymous, we can't really see her face, which makes us wonder, what are we looking at? What is she looking at? But you can feel there's a sense of joy, and that's what you expect from children. You see a little bit of joy, it's coming across, and being useful, having that light coming in from the left-hand side really makes you feel an uplifted sense of positivity with youth. So I like what you captured. Thank you.
Marmite?
You say 1 star.
Yes.
Yes.
You say 1 star.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you say 1 star? Sure. Well, okay. When I give a 15, I generally don't comment. But for a junior, this is exceptional. I don't know that you've got anything wrong in this image, in my opinion. It's got impact. I can almost, and I love cats, I can almost feel that rough sandpaper licking me, right? Those whiskers are prominent, the little chain or something down at the bottom. Your use of shadows to emphasize the whiskers and the light is exceptional. Very well done.
Well done. Dress pretty, let's run and get dirty.
Quite a sweet shot. Again, it conveys youth very nicely. The little girl's in a dominant position. I like that you've included a little bit of the environment so we can see she's out playing. You've got to be careful with children. You want to present them useful and sweet. And what I do like about your image is you haven't made a little girl look older than her age. She's just out, she's careful, carefree, having fun. You've handled the whites very nicely. And I think all these little elements come together. Another anonymous shot. Normally we say shots from the back don't always work so well. But I think in this instance, it's a great starting point for 1 star. When I come back, hopefully in a year, I'll see what else you can do. I think I've now seen 2 of your images. Let's see where you go from here. It's a great starting point. Thank you.
Tiger.
Things that I like to see in kitties. There we go. Lovely textures, fine details, a nice gesture. I love seeing all the little whiskers, beautiful clarity in the eyes. The ears are up, it's alert. You've used a very good composition here. Yeah, simple. We don't know what it's looking at. Doesn't really matter. It's a portrait. By means of improvement, as a junior, I think you're on the right track, right? This in future star ratings, you're going to position yourself differently, so we're not going to have so many bright areas. And somewhere in the future, lots of dodging, burning to really bring out the darker areas and make it high impact. As a junior 1 star, this is super, very nicely done.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
We're going to 2-star.
Really best in.
Oh, yes, we can quickly do the best as well. Yeah.
Tell me something, Arnold. Has the up and coming closed the last one?
No, it's still coming, I think. Oh, it's this Saturday, isn't it?
Closed that.
Oh, it closed last week. Yes. Yeah, unfortunately.
There was one image that was a 15. Can I accept that this is the winner?
Hell no. Yes, of course. You see. If I can make a suggestion, and I don't know if your club does it, you do enter the junior PCSA website there. PCSA website.
Yes, we do.
It's outstanding.
Oh, yes,
for a
I'll
one-star.
definitely enter. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the rest are, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's a 1-star. Really is fantastic. Well done.
Okay, we're going to 2-star. 2-star in flight.
It's really great to see a club that's got juniors of such a high caliber. All the clubs are struggling to find juniors, and you guys have got juniors, and they're good. So very nicely done. Super capture. You've got some nice detail, nice cloud work. You can see the energy coming through, good coloration, nice and sharp. Maybe a slightly slower and twist. Slightly slower shutter speed would have helped you just to get a little bit more motion here. But I love everything else that you've done here, nice colors, and also very authentic. By means of improvement, it's very central within your frame. So as you work on composition, you do want more in the front, and I understand you want to have this little bit of effect trailing behind. So it's a bit of a balance, because you're going to hear a lot of judges that say, not crazy about your central subject. So look where all your detail is. It's all here, and it's all leading me up there. So I still need the plane to fly up there. I need to crop off above that little bit there. You can crop that off and bring that down, okay? So crop there and there. So it's just flying out of the middle point. I would keep more of that. Thank you.
Subtle singer.
A very challenging image to take by virtue of the fact that it's a live performance. It's a candid shot, it's not posed. I'm looking at it and guessing it's not posed. So that is an assumption. Harsh light in terms of stage lights or production lights is never ever easy to work with. But I think even so, you've managed to control all of that nicely. There's nothing that's blown out. I love the little bits of blue coloration. Some judges may find that this being out of focus is a bit disturbing, but that's where I want the focus to be, and I think you've achieved that. If you go back into your post-processing, we will be able to recover some of these highlights that have lost definition, and it's a very small little element, because I think the storytelling is all there. Well done.
Ice hockey, thirsty work.
Yeah, a sport we're not familiar with in this country. It's, I think, a lot of Canada and the States that you see. They're so lovely to see something presented a little bit differently. Nice to see an unusual shot, a moment where there's some kind of differentiating sportsman thinking about things. Lovely colour pop that sticks out or stands out. Everybody stands out very nicely. Good enough shutter speed on, what's happening there on the mouth. One negative of your image is this area. I know it is the ice is extremely bright, and that hand is out of focus. It's quite soft, and because it's closer to us, I would like to ideally see that in sharper focus. It's just a matter of a better depth of field. So if 5.6 might have controlled that a little bit better, to give you even better definition. If you look at the estate, real estate that it takes up, it's quite significant. So this area we'd like to see sharp as much of that and everything else to fall off. Thank you.
Blue Eye Arnhem.
Yeah, very intense image. Lovely to capture the passion. It's a good portrait of this musician or the speaker, not exactly sure. But you can see the determination on his face, the mouth really close up. So in this particular instance, he has a great leading line, both leading us here, and then that eye, everything works, and that eye is exceptionally strong. Some people might say, this is very, very hazy and this is very crisp. Smoke, that's what happens. Smoke makes this a little bit fuzzy and everything sharp in the background. I think you've got a compelling portrait. Well done.
We've got two images. That's a 12. It's this one in flight. And Blue Eye Arnhem.
It will be this one for me, thank you.
And that's the best of 2 star. Okay, thank you. We're going to quickly take a break. Yes, that was good. Sure.
My wedding, it's got to add, just let it go when cycling and exercise. I said to you, come, let's help you get out of this. Let's get you back to something else. So pulling you back into it now. Bring back the high
Is ignoring me. Thanks, Natasha, for coming. Okay, we will start with 3 star.
Okay.
Okay, looks like there's a bit of a delay. Sorry.
Net so ietsie doen.
Just before we start, Fraser just wanted to say something quickly about the weekend away that he was planning, just so that we all, while we're here.
So there was a couple of questions about how much it's going to cost for the weekend away. I just wanted to clarify, I just did a week with Mr. Global South Africa, and a portion of that was done at Swazulu Lodge. And while I was there, they said if I ever wanted to come back, I could come back. So I asked them if I could come back and bring some friends. So they said I could. So that's why I said the weekend isn't going to cost anything. The accommodation's free, we just have to get there and have to bring our own food. I don't know if there's any more questions. What I need from everybody is just to let me know, there's 2 lodges on there. I don't know what the other lodge looks like. The lodge that I stayed in is the one that I put in the video. There's plenty of room in it. There's plenty of rooms on the outside as well. I just need to know who's going to be there and for the sleeping arrangements. And I need to give it through tomorrow so that they can determine which lodge they're going to put us in. Now, give the dates again. 24th to the 28th. Or any time in between. You can show up after September. It's just the other side of Brits.
Swazulu Lodge.
Swazulu Lodge. And they've got
What's the name?
Swazulu.
Swazulu.
Swazulu Lodge. It's massive. I don't know the first thing about nature reserves and things like that, but they took us out in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning to take us out. They've got giraffes, they've got Libyas, they've got things with horns in them.
She devils.
Yeah, those things. Hundreds of photographs of reindeer. But so what I'm going to say is if the people that do go for it, is to take us out and we can get as many photographs just to give to them. Because he was thrilled with some of the photographs I got back to him. I'm going to take a drone with me. We're going to take some video footage for his farm as well for him. So we're going to do that for the system. So he's just helping us out for a weekend away at no cost. And it's not. I mean, for me, it was just a matter of, I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's peace, it's quiet, there's no issues. We can do some night shoots, the stars and everything, and that type of thing. Some nice sunsets, it's nice. There's like a rock area with I don't know if you saw the photographs of the men in the swimwear. That's all rocks with water features.
Once you see, you see.
Somebody complained they didn't want to see the bulge. The company that actually sponsored that is called Bulge and Lump.
Yeah.
Specifically why they got everything they did there was sponsored. The only thing that you'll need is wood. We've got like a dormer area, a circular area with a big big fireplace that they build in the middle for us that we can sit down and sit for whatever time.
Is it you direct or on the group?
Pardon?
By tomorrow morning?
Yeah, if you can just let me know tomorrow morning on the group, because we opened it up now for everybody, just so I can write it down and then send it to them, just so they can determine which lodge they're going to give it. The only other issue I've got at the moment is there's a wedding book. He's not here at the moment. There's a wedding book, and I'm not sure which lodge or which weekend. So I just have to confirm. That's why when I send it through tomorrow, they'll confirm with me whether the place is available.
And food?
Food, we have to bring our own food. It's self-catering. But you've got everything there. There's fridges, microwave, ovens. I did put a video up on the thing. I took a walk around the lodge. I made a small video of everything that was in there. There's dining, we do outside. There's a giant dining room table where we can all sit. Sits about 20 people. There's an open braai area. And then there's an indoors dining room area as well.
So is it arrive on the Wednesday night of the public
Yeah,
holiday?
we'll probably arrive on the Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, we'll arrive on the Wednesday afternoon, and then we'll leave Sunday morning.
If you want to stay.
If you want to stay a short period of time, you're more than welcome. We just need to make sure that you're accommodated so that when you show up, there's a place there for you. You'll see there's a main house. I'm not very sure. I think there's 4 or 5 bedrooms in the main house, and then just off the main house, there's like a smaller block with like units, small units. It's only got a bed in it, and a toilet.
Okay.
If you look at the video, I'd like to have around the whole place. And I'll show you.
Thank you.
Okay, so there will be some house sharing on this.
Yeah, we're sharing, everybody's sharing the house, but you're not sharing the rooms. Everybody's sharing the rooms.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
There's a kitchen, I mean, I don't mind sharing, I have it.
Yes. So how big is the house again?
I do.
I think it's about 5 bedrooms. It's got two of the main bedrooms are for ensuite bathrooms. There's a third bathroom, so there's 3 bathrooms and a 2 ensuite. One is off with the 2 bedrooms to share, and then outside them there's small cubicles. I'm not sure the bathrooms set up there. Each room is separate. It's got a double bed and a bunk bed.
Oh, yes, so that's sort of backpackers, but also singular.
Yeah, it's like if you've really kids, if it's a husband and wife with 2 kids, then there's a room with a double bed and a bunk bed, and the kids get a bed each.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Just a short videos. It's
All
not
right.
long. The senior guys are in the video.
Maybe share it again,
Thank
there
you.
are so many other chats.
Is Anita even lig gegaan was dit? Ja, nie ene. Ja.
Is ons nog op zee? Zeker nog steeds.
Ek dink nie seker maar. Just give me a moment. I quickly want to share.
Ja, is nog steeds.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we're starting with African alarm clock, 3-star.
Yeah, a bird that we're all familiar with, the hardy-gars that wake us up in the mornings. And we've managed to capture it for once when the beak is closed. So kudos for that. In terms of your composition, your image is positioned very centrally within the frame. You've also created a square crop, which gives a lot of additional space above the head and then down below. For 3-star, you need to worry a little bit more about your exposure. If you look at the rock in the front, that's very bright, and then also the mottled granite rock at the background, because that draws our eye. It's also textured, so it's bright and it's textured, and you can also see that coming through the grass as well, maybe the change of season, or you getting the grass line back. So you've got a lot of white hot spots throughout your image, which you need to pull back on your highlights. In terms of what you've really done nicely, nice catch lines, nice feather detail in the front. You have shot it from top down, so had you gone a little bit lower and maybe made the bird a little bit stronger in the frame, that would definitely have helped. But I do like the fact that you've got some nice colour on the beak and also the blues that are coming through. Thank you.
Cannon wheel.
Interesting scene. I like that you've positioned it in the lower third. It makes it a little bit more dynamic. Means of saying that you've got some layering within your image. Your focal point is in the front. You've got beautiful texture. There's nice light falling across it, and a very good interplay as well of light and shadow between there. That works really nicely. Focus falls off quite dramatically towards the back. You've got another very hot area in the middle. And then once I've seen your hero in the image in the front, there's nothing in the top 50% of your image. So you've got to rethink your composition a little bit, because you've got half of your image where all the story is down at the bottom. Is anything above that wheel adding value to your scene? Is it telling more of a story? It's got a very dark band across the top, which has got zero information in, right? So in terms of keeping the story contained, or if you need supporting elements, including it, but in terms of this image, I would say a square crop would be your friend. Thank you.
Quiet time.
Beg your pardon?
Quiet time.
Quiet time.
Thank you.
beautifully evocative, lovely shutter speed use, sharp where it needs to be, and then you can feel that pull back on that oar. It's coming into the water, there's a bit of a splash, and you see that whole additional top section, which just adds to the storytelling. So very, very good use of shutter speed within your scene. Early morning, the mist is on, you've got emotion, beautifully straight in the front, light coming in from the back. I think it's been very, very well captured. In terms of what you could possibly do to improve it, 3-star, you're working in Photoshop, in Camera Raw, I would be inclined to say just give us a little bit more light on his face, pull on a radial gradient in Camera Raw, use that radial gradient and just lighten up could even be the shadows. You don't want to make that face very, very bright. And remember, the light that's on the face, you're just going to capture a little bit more down the front of his head and maybe just the one eye. So just be careful, maybe a brush could work, maybe a radial, but pull it ever so slightly. The reason we light up the face is that so you've got direct eye engagement, you can actually discern the features, and I mean ever so slightly. As presented, well done.
The first step is the hardest.
I don't know, depends on your age, because there's more than 2 steps there. So by the time I get to the 10th step, I'm already breathless, tired.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm teasing you, I know what you're saying. Nice monochrome conversion. You've got very strong inky blacks and then very, very bright whites. I do like the inclusion of the elements on the top. It adds an additional element. And then all the leaves and that furling at the bottom with some dappled light works nicely. Do you need the entire bit on the right and left-hand side? I'm not sure, because is there anything that we can discern in that area? Remember, with the monochrome, you want to capture the interplay of lights and darks and have full tonality in between, but your image is strengthened sometimes by what you're not showing us, sometimes by what you are. There's nothing I can see in that, and even if there was, your main aim of the story is the staircase all the way up. We've got the leading lines. I'm going to get 3/4 to the top. I'm not going to find anything there. So this bit on the left, I would consider cropping it down into a portrait. I wouldn't take out all the black, but certainly where you see that little square, crop all the way down on that. And that will bring our eye back more to the staircase. To get even higher than the mark I'm going to give you, control your whites coming down there on this staircase. They are extremely bright in the scene. You've used very high contrast in the image. And if you tone that down a little bit, it will definitely elevate your image. Thank you.
Nature's beauty.
More of an artistic rendering over here, and the author has opted to do it in monochrome, and I think it's great subject matter for a monochrome. It gives us that feeling of whimsy. There's nothing in the background that distracts from it. Your depth of field is extremely shallow. So now your creative license is where are you actually wanting your focus. So what I am seeing in focus is really just this area here. This entire leading line is out of focus, and all of this is out of focus. I think the other way around would have been stronger had you led me up to a point of focus, because this is very busy down at the bottom, but I still do enjoy your attempt. Thank you.
Decaying bridge at Centurion Shopping Mall.
Yeah, your image could even have worked for your set subject. Mind you, I don't know if there's beauty in these details, right? Okay, DK. Yeah, unfortunate state of affairs with a lot of things in our country. Good storytelling in here, strong leading line, good composition, leading us all the way back to that gentleman, and then just supporting elements of background. Again, just watch your exposure. It's particularly bright down here at the bottom. And I can see where you've led my eye through, and then there's a little bit more elements on the back buildings that lead our attention to give us more info. What would have elevated your image? This gentleman is very much blending in the background, and you are on the side of the bridge anyway. Had you waited for him to just walk perhaps a little bit more into the scene, he's very small over here. If he was here, he would take up all that presence. Maybe just so that he was under this top steel, that would have made him the hero of your image. Because you're leading us right into the back, and we've almost got to discern what we're looking at the back there. Thank you.
Spanish village.
Oh, I love you seeing how fortunate you are to go to places and travel. It makes a world of difference. You come back, you take us with you to other places, and we get to enjoy your journey with you. Nice composition that you've included the foliage, and you've used natural framing left and right to actually draw our eyes straight into those buildings. That's obviously where the hero of our story is. When we get there, those buildings are quite white. Not seeing enough detail in them, not just because they're far away, but also because they're obviously very, very bright sun is coming through. So that's an area that you needed to really concentrate on. I'm also questioning your depth of field, if it was enough in focus all the way from the frontier to get through to the back, where I'm battling to find a very strong, I can see they're in focus, but not enough for me to actually discern some detail. What would help here is you've got this very bright triangle down at the bottom, crop just above it. You can see there's a bit of a line here. Above that line, crop that out, and you'll be even closer in. Now, for 3-star, your image is also presenting as very flat. There's not enough shadow detail in your images. You could potentially go back, burn that in, push up your contrast a little bit, and that would help you. But I think for me, the main issue with your image is lack of focus when we need it. Thank you.
Oh, B.
Are you wanting me to go down that way?
It says it's present.
It says it's presented. Then I'm looking at levitation. If you put this in a salon, I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but as you've presented it,
Sorry, I can't crop it.
okay, not a problem. We give you the benefit of the doubt because this is club, this is where we're learning. So I'm going down. Okay. Nice focus. Nice subject matter. I like the interaction between the two. You can see the intensity, you can see the passion here. I love the addition of the green lights. Again, it's a concert, so we're not expecting to see details through all the smoke. We're looking for raw emotion, we're looking for action, we're looking for passion, and I think you've got that very nicely handled. The other thing about an image where you've got two subjects, okay, we've got the gent and the gent in the background. Your image needs to be quite specific as to who your hero is. You know, in every story, in every Disney movie, there's always the main character, and then you've got the supporting element. I think you've handled that very nice, because my eyes aren't bouncing between them. We know who the hero is. We know they make a lot of money, Microsoft. We know who the hero is, and we know who the supporting act is. You've managed that nicely, and you've captured some of the scene. So we don't prejudice you at club, it's learning opportunity.
Focused mind.
You can definitely see the focus on this little boy and learning to fish. It's very sweet. And if you've got kids, there are always these moments of intensity that you capture and you think to yourself, I never want to forget this moment, right? I'm going to look back on these years and they grow up so quickly. What you've done right in the image, you've captured emotion. There's some nice action coming through. We've got nice placement in terms of the composition. He's got a nice position within the frame. It is quite strong. Some things that you can look at is definitely a green cast coming across your image. If you look at his hands, they're a little bit green. His clothing is green. You're just going to go back and check your white balance and make sure that that's all natural skin color. And then those hands, time of day, very, very bright, so it's quite dominant. And when you've got elements like the hands, you don't necessarily want to draw, even though you know that's where he's working, you don't want to draw all the attention to that. You want to take in the face, the stance, the gesture of what he's doing. So the hands should just be nicely balanced within the image. The area on the left, you've created a square crop. I think if you cropped off behind him, and to me, this image, just a proper ratio, I would have just left that little bit there. It's more than sufficient. It's a really petty little thing, right? Photoshop has got something called removal of distractions. And because I'm looking at this little boy and then I'm looking around at tiny little wires, cables, Photoshop can remove that for you. We're allowed to do that. And I think that bright area at the top, crop it all out. That's not adding to your image halves and very, very bright areas. Just crop it out and you'd have a stronger image. Thank you.
Future star.
And nogal barefoot. Sure. Very cute. I don't know what you call that thing that the ball rests on, but it gives us an indication of really good shutter speed. It's up in the air, the little boy's up on his toe. You've captured that beautiful moment called the defining moment. You've got his intense determination, the ball's in play, a little bit of spectator info in the background. That works nicely. Means of improvement, I'm wondering if you actually need above the heads where you've got that shaded area, that grandstand. If you were to cut that out, and I can see the crop is very similar to the little boy playing, or the determination one before. I'm just going to guess. If you use your standard ratios, either of portrait or horizontal, vertical horizontal ratios, I think you captured in more of the true essence. This is a little bit tight for me, but had you cropped that, that would be so, and I would eliminate that, right? I might keep the APSA, that's very bright. So there we go. The ball's in play, and you come down here. It's just distractions up at the top. Look at his face. There's your story. There's the magic. That's the checkbox. Okay? We haven't scored you yet. There you go, thank you.
Nice.
Just want to filter quickly and pick the best. One image on CRM 30.
That's my winner, thank you.
Okay, just a 3-star. Okay, go to 4-star. First image, fish game.
Oh, lovely sighting. Really nice to see these birds in action and having caught something. And there are a few things that you've really got very nicely handled in your image. We've got the bride and groom in the image, and that's the challenge, right? You've got the very, very bright whites and the very dark blacks in this pied kingfisher, and your exposure has to be bang on to balance them both. And if you don't balance them both in camera, you're going to go back and you're going to fix it in post, right? We're going to come back to that. Nice background, creamy, dreamy. The bird stands out super proud. it's fantastic that you've got the bird on a little mound, because so often with pied kingfishers, they use unnatural elements like the side of the Kruger Park wall or a perch that you know you can't put into nature. So I think your base and having it so low down is just win-win. You're at the right place at the right time. With shutter speed, we can still see the little drops of frozen, and then you've got the bird up in a very, very proud position. Composition is key, and that's not to say a centralized composition isn't strong. I think in terms of capturing it in the middle, yes, it stands proud, but what additional information have you got on either side that's giving you extra to your image? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think this is a horizontal shot, because you're still going to get bed space here, you're going to get bed space here. I think your image is right here, just there. And then what are you going to do to get this higher up? You can pull your shadows, you can use a brush, and just that tiny little area, all the details are there. You find when you go into Camera Raw or Lightroom and you pull up the shadows, you're going to balance that by balancing it with contrast. So you pull up the shadows, you don't want to make it go grey, it's not a grey bird, but you're going to balance the blacks with the contrast to get that back. And when you pull up the shadows, you might get a little bit more light in the eye, and we're going to get a little bit more information coming up on that fish, and that's going to get you an even higher result. You've got this in RAW, your focus is good, the action is good. Please revisit the image, and I'm sure if you submit it into a salon, you'll get an even higher result. Thank you.
X marks the spot.
Yeah, an interesting time and an interesting observation. These giraffes caught at a salt lick. It looks like at their feet, so there's nice storytelling, and you've got an interesting animal behavior in this particular scene. Sometimes we have to question whether having two animals intersecting each other is for the storytelling or for the aesthetics, because it also can be a little bit confusing. But in this instance, I think you've got clear separation. By means of improvement, you have pushed your blues quite a bit. And what that's done is it's introduced a little bit of an unnatural blue color. But if you have a look here, the whole scene is outlined by halos. And that's generally when you've done a little bit of extreme edit. And you see all the way down on the back here. Just go back and revisit that, and that will help. Thank you.
Put in the act.
You know, how do you take an image of what we consider a very common little bokkie and create something that's got impact, something that's got mood, that's got emotion? Very regular little bokkie, ears are forward, the exposure is being handled nicely, one little blade sticking out. Well, this is when your style comes into play, and I think this dark kind of edit is not for everybody. I particularly like it. You might find some judges that say, but you've just said lift the shadows. Well, in this instance, I think it creates a little bit of mood. You can see that there's nicely defined areas down across its front of the nose. There's definition, there's fine fur detail, the ears are pointed forward. There is a tiny, tiny little bit of light here. Potentially just in this area, I would have liked a little bit more light in the top there, and it would have scored even higher. But as presented, I think it's a beautifully evocative, thoughtful image. Thank you.
Moving to departure line.
Yeah, nice to see the formation at the back, even though they're just the supporting elements, just by virtue of those helicopters being dark in the top. It's just a good moment captured. Good shutter speed in terms of the propeller. You've used a nice slow shutter speed. Everything is shot in the background, and then you're showing us that radial motion, which is nice. Good use of the framing of your image. In this instance, full coverage of the entire span works very nicely, and we can see details in the background. Thank you.
Rose.
Range subject matter, depending on who you're presenting the rose, may depend if you get a second date or not. Yeah. Nice angle coming in from the left, beautiful coloration. It's an artistic rendering. It's not sharp. I'm looking through it and I'm trying to find an area where it's sharp, but it actually doesn't bother me in the least. This is an artistic image that you would print and put up on the wall for art's sake. The tenebristic background works very, very nicely, just by means of improvement. And you're not going to see this if you're editing on a small Mac on a small screen. But once you've seen it, you can't unsee it because it's in this big black area. Just watch that sensor spot and remove it. Thank you. You've got a big dot here. You have got a friend in all these people behind me.
We do.
Awesome.
We do. We are a big team.
Pardon?
We are a big team.
Nothing wrong. But if you give me a rose like that, if this author's here, you're not getting a second date. Nicely seen. I will print it and put it on my walls, Stefan.
Silence between walls.
Oh, it feels like Great Depression.
Yes.
Okay? You're looking at it and there's just a feeling of everything being so depressing. Excellent subject matter for monochrome. I love your angles. In actual fact, go rescore. If I may.
I didn't score it yet.
But I've
Okay.
accepted it.
Oh, you see.
Thank you. How do we create mood? How do you direct the author's eye into an area? You're using monochrome. Had this image been in color, I don't think it would have had the same impact. So let's talk about what I think you've got right. Love the lines. Your eye starts down here, it's leading you all the way right to the back. And when I get to the back, this is all super focused. And then I see this and I'm like, what's going on here? Okay, the buildings are tilting inwards. The lines are being replicated by those lines. There's so much interest and feeling and mood. And you've got these old buildings and there's some kind of a new structure. It's not quite in focus. There's not much positive feeling of hope and upliftment in your image. And I think it would make a great print for something like a corporate office or a photo book, a coffee book. I think you've achieved a really super image. Thank you.
All alone.
When you get minimalism right, and very often we see minimalistic photographers love to work in black and white because they take out all distractions, and you are singularly focused on normally one thought concept with a very strong hero, and they stand up proud. This leading line leads us straight into it. These lines all support the motion. He is static. A postbox view of it, beautiful reflections. How lovely. Well done.
Mustang.
Just take a bit of time. Car photography is not easy for a number of reasons. There's often a lot of detail. You've got reflections that show a whole lot of things that are in the nearby surrounds, and you've got to eliminate that with polarizers, circular filters. If you really want to eliminate a lot of post-processing, first things, you polish your car and you clean your car, you make sure that it's as clean as possible so you don't have to clone a lot of things out. But the potential is, if this wasn't in a setup, you are going to take it back and you are going to post-process it in Lightroom or Photoshop, and you're going to control those kind of elements. What have you got right in your image? I love the lines, I love the detail, the headlights, it's at a nice angle. You can more or less see some people on the inside of the car. That adds to the interest of it, perhaps for you. Or a different viewer might say, I prefer not to have it. In terms of how you could elevate your car photography, I see a lot of brushstroke work going on all over the top here. I can see that you painted out the background by the way you pulled it up here and over the tire. Clean up little bits over here, there. You're going to paint that all out. And perhaps the one thing for me that isn't working very well is this area here where your brushes come down of this section, and that back window we know is going to be black, and it's kind of not, I can't even see through this windscreen out through the other side or there. So those are little things. I think you've got interest here. Pull out your shadows. If you do product photography like this, the guys that manufacture these people, this Mustang, this logo, needs to be the focus of this image, and it's a little bit out of focus here. There's movement on here, and those tires, to get it a little bit more dramatic, you need to turn those tires. So there's certain things that you're going to do when you elevate upwards in terms of uplifting your offering, but I think in terms of having the initial impact, it's all the way there. It's a few little things that you're going to work on going forward if you really enjoy the genre. Thank you.
Strawberry splash.
And I now see that. Thank you. Okay. I'm not seeing an elephant, but I am seeing a dolly. Okay. But you know, once you start looking for those things, you see them, right? And this is quite interesting. I do see the thing that's up there with the big bulge on its nose, or the nose. Nice, lovely color pop, nice drama coming out the glass. I like that you've got the splash, things are sharp where they need to be. You've got a good reflection down in the bottom, and you've also put it up against the tenebristic background. So when you make these very black backgrounds, things really do stand out and have high impact. Just as a point of consideration for you, here's your focus, these are the drops. You've left the same amount of space there and the same amount of space here. Does all of this give you more points? More points in terms of leading my eye there? I don't think so. I think your image is right here. Crop 20% out there and crop that out there because it's not adding to your image. Thank you.
Kart racer.
Like the vantage point that the author's got down nice and low to the tracks, or else you've used a longer lens. Just compress the scene a little bit and you're not shooting from the top down on your subject matter. The wheels, not seeing too much motion in here, and your blacks are quite dark. In terms of color pop, could you have popped those yellows, blues, and the colors in there to be a little bit more intense? I think so. And maybe you've got, it's hard, it's painting technique, right? If you're going to freeze everything, then you would freeze him and all this writing would be super, super crisp. And you can see the focus is falling off and that face is just slightly a little bit soft. Doesn't matter if that's your choice because you've left enough space for it to move into. If you were trying to get motion, that's okay. But it's quite static here. So in terms of elevating this image, lift up your shadows a little bit, and next time, if you do get the opportunity to go back, just keep practicing that painting technique. Thank you.
Racing against the clock.
Super action shot. We can't control the time of day, and I think the author's done very well to control the light circumstances. We can see this is shot in more probably midday by virtue of where the shadows fall in. So we look at the light and we can see it's quite bright in the background, but that has helped you with the high shutter speed. It's really also giving you a lot of drama down here and captured a nice sharp image. I'm not concerned that there's no light in the animal's eye. If you had it, it would be a bonus. But in terms of where the light is falling, you've got the action, you've left space for it to move into. You could potentially just darken down the white beams of the background. But for this virtue, on an angle, feet up, beautiful action up there, well done.
Shoe trouble.
That's a beautiful portrait of Gabriella. Lovely calm moment, very becoming of a ballet dancer. You've got the serenity, she's graceful and you presented her beautifully. I love the storytelling of her taking off her points. That works really beautifully. You've got lovely interplay between lights and shadows. As a soft focus image, I think that's been nicely achieved. If you wanted to elevate your image, I think pushing contrast just a little bit more would elevate the image from being a little bit less flat. I'd like to see a little bit more definition in terms of the shoulder muscle here, a little bit more there. And then in your background, this area here needs a little bit more reworking. It's not quite an infinity curve, and there's just some brushwork, little details down here that you could also fix it up on. And that would take your image from the current 13 up until even a 14. Thank you.
Power and fragility.
Did you say fragility?
Yeah, it says here fragility.
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 A very interesting portrait, by virtue of the juxtaposition that the author has captured. I don't know if it's intentional, but this is what I'm seeing. One woman, two totally different sides, right? So if you look at the portrait on the left, where you've got more light, you've got more gloss and sweat on her side, more tattoos, and you compare it with the softness on the right, as we see at the right-hand side of her face, her bare arm. She does look fragile on this side. On that side, she looks quite mean. You don't want to mess with this lady. The Everlast we know is associated with boxing. So I like that I can read it and I can discern, not from the bottom, but when I put two together, it merges. So your scene is quite synchronized in that aspect. More than enough space left. A little bit dark on the shadow down here, this area. And even though you want to show some kind of sweat, I think you still need to control these highlights a little bit better, soften them down, just remove them to a degree. I like that they're there, but just remember there's nothing on this side. So just try and be a little bit more, I wouldn't put as much feature on that, let's put it that way. But I do like the image very much as presented, especially that you have done a monochrome conversion, which I think is very well handled.
Period. Period. Without a T.
It's French.
It's a silent.
It's a silent T.
Period.
Yeah. Very cute image. Lots of impact. I love that it's been stylized well. Nice makeup and styling in terms of all the elements. The umbrella, it's indicative of what you're likely to find out on the streets. Has a whimsical feel to it. The background's nice and clean. I think very nicely handled. The only means of improvement that I could possibly suggest is the coloration of her arms. If you bring that back to more of a skin tone, it's got a bit of a greeny mustardy coloration, and I can't see very well what's happening up there. There's patches of light and dark on these arms. So if you can just go back and work that out, you'll get an even higher score. Thank you.
We want to pick the best 4-star.
This one,
There's
14.
one of 14 and a couple of 13s, but it's your choice if you want to see
Yeah.
those.
If I may,
Okay.
just to be fair. Okay.
Okay, there are 3 images.
And it will still be all alone. This one, thank you.
Well done, best of 4-star. Okay, moving to 5-star. First image, perfect right to play with fire. A perfect night to play with fire.
Oh, those could work. But there's some light. Yeah. I beg your pardon. A very interesting concept. It's got immediate impact as the image comes up. And in this case, the central composition works very, very well. Your eye is drawn, and aside from moving around to those maybe steel wire sparks that are bouncing off whatever the surface was, I think your eye keeps coming back there. Now, the author has chosen to juxtapose day against night. When I say daylight, let's rather take it back. Light, the yellows against the blues. Okay, so eye against that very, very dark sky. And I think that's quite nice. I do like the effect in the sky and all the stars. That works quite nicely. How could you elevate this image? In my thought process, you've got a very dark base here. I don't think you need all of that. Maybe just a little bit. Just a teeny little bit there would elevate. There's nothing happening down here, and it's extremely busy up here. The addition of the moon, I question, because you've got 2 orbs, and I think your focus is better left with the lady down below. You can use your stars to create the drama, but that moon at the top, just for me personally, obviously for the author it worked, but for me I think it could rather be taken out. Thank you.
Okay.
I agree.
Lioness.
So lovely to see them, and a young one as well. We see them by the little spots, sitting very calmly, nice in nature. That works very nicely. Good lighting on it. In general, it's not underexposed. If anything, you've got to be a little bit careful because you've lost a lot of detail on the whites. So there are areas of large overexposure, and it's so close. It's such a fine line. So if you go back into your editing, just see if you can recover some of those whites. That will help you. And then just watch your contrast. You've pushed contrast quite high because you've made this very natural here. It almost looks like Casper, an albino with what's it called? Melanistic line. But if it was melanistic, it would be all white. You wouldn't see all of this. And then you've got that very, very dark face. So be careful when you push contrast that high. Thank you.
Open wings.
A beautiful image of this whip Atelier. It has obviously just had a nice bath. You can see its foliage, its plumage is wet. You've got that super discernible face and the talons, and that's all sharp, the look of intensity. And if you're a composite photographer, you're going to want to steal those angel wings, right? You're going to go put them on a model or something. So that beautiful wing extension with all the details and the beautiful light really serves you well. Can you do anything about this poop area? Because this we know is where they've perched, and then you've got this bright white area. In Camera Raw, you can take a brush, just try to control your exposure over that area because it does draw your eye. I'm not worried about the big area of black on the top because the light across is beautiful. Lovely detail between the secondaries, the primaries, and the coverts. I think you've really got a super shot. Well done.
Basking in the sun.
Our water birds, they just make for such beautiful portraits, and often we hear we don't want to have a shot taken from the backside. I think that's the only way that you're actually able to see the splendor of this particular bird. Beautiful S-curve, which they often render, lovely perch, which works very nicely, lovely background, all leads in very well, and lots of detail again in all the primary secondaries, the tail feathers. You've really captured a nice image. I would like to have seen the sharpness here, and by virtue of that being so sharp, you would think that is. But you can go back and rework that, add in a little bit more contrast, because you can see there's a lot of detail down here. You just need to work back on this top head section. Thank you.
Sorry, I did something stupid. Delete, yes.
Elephant in the bush.
And it's not Anita.
Oh, lovely, really lovely. Your elephant stands proud, beautiful to convert to monochrome, nice interplay of lights as well. And you've got the elephant in a very strong position in the frame with the background not being bothersome at all. Because your elephant is mostly in shadow, you've only got that little bit of light that comes across from the left-hand side. So you really need to go back and do a lot more work in terms of dodging and burning, and bringing out that texture even more. And it's actually not in this area, it's in the only little bit where the light falls over here. We're not expecting to see light in the eyes. You know, elephants have got very long eyelashes and you don't get to see that. So that's not a problem. The one area where you can focus is this little white dot here, and rather work on your whites to come through on this side. So manage that and working more white on that side. Thank you.
Klipspringer at sunset.
Beautiful coloration. Immediately recognizable animal because the silhouette is so strong, so proud. Beautiful exposure on that sun. It works fantastically. I really do enjoy everything about your image, merely to strengthen it. It's just my opinion because you love it just as it is. I think the image is stronger if you cut it here. That little bit of information, there's something there, some eyes going there. This is where you want your image to stay. So cutting that out is not an option. It's there, just deciding what to include. Thank you.
Aiming for PDC 180 glory.
Repeat, please.
Aiming for PDC 180 glory.
Good storytelling image. I like that the dartboard is actually not in focus. So good creative use of a shallow depth of field, and you focused on that hand, and it's a hand with texture, it's holding the dot authentically. So I'm inclined to say maybe even the author is the photographer, because I feel like I'm part of the scene. I feel like I'm the one whose hand I'm looking at, and you've got that clear bullseye right in the middle. I think you've handled the image very nicely. By means of improvement, just look at where your bright areas are. You can pull down the whites on the thumb here, and then on the top left and right, it's obviously part of the board that it might be in a box that closes together. Just consider darkening that down so that there's nothing that's going to distract in the image, and a very petty little bright spot because it's all in the dark here. Please don't worry me. Thank you.
New page.
Definitely an image for storytelling. It's not that we're going to see this very often. So it's a moment captured between maybe the falcon handler and the falcon itself. And you can see it's captive obviously by I think they're called the ringing and the straps on that. So interesting storytelling, interesting interaction between the two. You will not be able to obviously enter this into nature. The rings on its own and the marking, that wouldn't be a problem, but the human elements, to make that mistake. In terms of exposure, just watch your exposure. The area, the sun, obviously is very, very bright, and you can see that by the loss of detail down at the bottom on the blue areas and on her top shoulder, and then the sky is washed out. Now in PJ, you're going to look at the storytelling value of it. If you put this in open color, it's not likely to do as well. But I think for the human aspect and the interaction between the two, you've got an interesting shot. Thank you.
Right, Malakene Proteas.
You hear my clicks, you count them. I know I do better club. The more I hear, the more excited I get. But then I also learned sometimes some judges go all the way up and then come all the way down, and it's normally my bad luck. I think it's gone well and it's gone the other way. In this instance, really striking, well thought out life. Beautiful vase, lovely subject matter. Everything has come together very nicely across this. The neutral color palette, the positioning of those dried flowers, the mottled specks on the jar, the portrait orientation really works very nicely. It's certainly most likely intending to get its com. The only thing I could potentially suggest is darken down your background even more so that there's even more separation and this jar is going to stand out, or your vase is going to stand out even better. And then just because my eye and flower arranging, you've got a lovely arc here. I wonder if this one could be just a little bit higher, just a little, or just a little bit more to that side and take up a little bit more space here. At the moment, they're very, very similar. I don't mind that this one's falling in shadow. Just get one to lean over just a little bit more, and you've got synergy between two elements. Right now, it feels almost perfectly placed. That's a very slight suggestion or variance from me. Thank you.
Elsie.
Okay. Beautiful model. Beautiful smile, beautiful eyes. She's got beautiful face structure. You've decided to drape her in a beautiful fabric, which works nice. There's a little bit of the hair left on the side, which is good. Portraiture. Letitia Kenny is probably, no, without a doubt, somebody that I would love to be sitting right here now and hear her opinion on this. But I can only give you mine. We've got a lady, maybe teens, maybe just a little bit older. And what is our duty as a photographer? And it's to present this person in the very best light that we can. So first of all, getting light into the eyes, you've definitely done that. I can see your lighting has created some nice shadow. You've directed her, you've given her beautiful direct eye contact, and she's got a lovely smile, nice lipstick, bright color. If, when I edit, if there is a pimple, a spot, a mark, a blemish on that skin that's not going to be there in a week's time, I clear it all out. And that's what we have to do on this particular portrait. If you look, her skin a little bit blemished here, there, everywhere. And the problem is, we see that. So we look at that rather than looking at this beautiful lady, and maybe she's just time of month, time of year, for whatever reason. We need to do some cleanup. The new remove tool and the clone tool and frequency separation. If you don't know any of those things, you can even go into neural filters on this image, because neural filters is going to choose that face, clean out those spots really nicely, and not so much neural filters, but if you do a good frequency separation, you're going to keep the texture and remove the little blemishes. Spend a little bit of time. You've got great framework here. You just need to go back, and I call it being kind. Remove all these little speckles and then control this very big bright area, because you can see you've lost all texture. I'd love you to go back, edit this, take up that skin, smooth it out to really a realistic value, and you're going to get even better results. Thank you.
Family man.
Oh gosh. Okay. It works the opposite. Everything I've just said, ignore for a man. And this is why. It's for men, and it's the most bizarre why we are wired. Ask any woman here, if a man has a scar, if a man's got great temples, it adds character, right? We don't mind a scar. We don't mind those little imperfections in men as much as what we are critical with women. In fact, we do the dragon effect to actually bring out the hard contrast, right? So in a male portrait, we tend to push the clarity, push the textures. In a woman, we pull it. We want it softer, gentler, a little bit softer. This is totally the opposite. So you may find it's even the same author, I don't know. But all these, you know, the lighting falling across here doesn't bother us the same with men as what it does with the woman. Beautiful portrait, well captured. I like that you've pulled in harsh shadows. I still think you could control the light a little bit better, all these shiny areas here. Just use a brush to even skin tone to a degree. It could be that you shot this in harsh sunlight. Pull the shadows a little bit. If you look at, he's got a bit of an ear, and if you don't see the top of his head, you tend to think he's got a bit of a bulbous head. Just pull your shadows so that you can see where the hair is falling here. By means of improvement, and really only for me, if you see text, you want to read it. So this I would just clone. I would just sample here, take it out, or take the remove tool, because it is a bit of a distraction. Everything else must just draw me up there. Now, because it's bright, it's drawing me down here. Very nice portrait, super engaging. Thank you. And of course, it was shot with the Canon, right?
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. Cool, yes. Yeah. Okay, you go.
Ja. Skus. Dan gaan ons net terug.
Let's dance.
An image elevated by the addition of the fabric. That's quite nice because you've got an additional element. There's something more. I love her stance. You can see that there's some nice triangle. Your light is coming down from the left, right hand side. And I think you've handled the exposure down her leg and across her arm very nicely. And obviously created a bit more interest on the left hand side of the face, which is darkening all this fabric that flows all over. So that all works very nicely. Working with fabric can be very, very tricky. If you have an issue with things like OCD, you're going to say, oh, would I have had that there? I'm inclined to say I would clone that out and keep that on. And then I am very fussy when I work with fabric. This is quite a lot of fabric. So to me, it tends to overwhelm the dancer. She must still be my hero, and the fabric must just enhance the portrait. So if you 5-star and you can, go back, cut all that, this piece here, cut that out, that little bit. That's beautiful, that's strong. And that little bit there extra, no. I would take that out, clone that in, and you'll have a stronger portrait for it as presented, nicely achieved.
Neil.
Oh, these candid portraits have become popular in the last while, showing a lot of character, emotion. Sometimes you get to know the stories behind the people. You see these stories etched on their face. And when you capture images full of emotion, they're not just flat portraits. And there's something about portraits that are taken, that are candid, that bring across heartfelt. They're not posed, they're just the person with the essence. And I think the authors captured this one just like that. The lighting, probably shot natural light. I'm going to give the same comment on the top. You can recover a little bit of that hair. Not so much on the left-hand side, a little bit on the right, so the head doesn't blend too much against that tenebristic background. And then just by virtue of the fact that that's all you've got in this portrait, had you given me a little bit more of the right-hand shoulder, that would have just added a little bit more balance to your image. Thank you.
Shifty.
No, you've got to be careful when you comment on on little children and little dogs and little animals because it's their babies, right? And I want to say this thing looks like a mangy, scrawny little dog with these Pokemon ears sticking out. But it's emotion and those eyes. She's so much healing. I love the textures. I love the high-key rendering with the dark background. You know, this dog doesn't trust you. At least this is your dog. He's not knowing who you are, what you're doing here. But I think you've got a solid core. Well done.
A new day has come.
For us, it's a recognizable scene of well-known and well-loved venue. I think it's the island out of Reykjavik. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like it to me. Missing all the birds, right? Beautiful, beautifully fucked. Look at those colors, the palette, the blues, the yellows, that burning light through the top, and then that very minimalistic black and solid contrast piece at the bottom. I think your ratio is beautiful. I wouldn't crop anything out of it. It's scored quite high for me. You can't see through the back because it will be hidden on your side. But on all these trees, there's a heavy halo. All of them, left, right, top, bottom, all the way in between. Take it back into Photoshop, revisit it, and just try to see if you can eliminate a lot of that. I'd love your image to do even better. Thank you.
Castle in ruins.
But what makes a good travel image? If the author is captured in such a way that we want to visit there and we wish we were standing there. And this is a site that I'd also like to be part of. And I think the vantage point from where you have captured it makes me feel like I am the viewer. I am standing in this meadow amongst all this layering. You've got the solid and interesting foreground. You lead me up to the subject matter. So that's very clearly defined on a strong position. Little bits of cloud in the sky, and then you've got placement toward the right. The colors work nicely, beautiful textures throughout your whole image. And I think by virtue of probably the country it's in, it's probably Scotland's, UK's. You're never going to get the bright sun that we're expecting. So you've managed that very well as presented. Thank you.
Okay.
Just want to filter, choose the best of 5 star. We have 3 images scored 13.
Very different genres, yeah.
Yes.
A nature, composite, and still life. Yep. Well, the nature winner was the Batelier. The composite winner is Arnold's night studio shot, and the so I've got a composite nature and a still life winner, and I'll let her do that.
Yeah.
One of each. It could be any of the 3 on any given night. If you'll just scroll one more time for me, please. Okay. I wouldn't mind any of the 3 in my portfolio, but just by virtue of simplicity and striking, this is my winner. Thank you.
And well done, best of 5 star.
Dit was waarskynlik die na die KND.
A lot of the images could have worked in set subject for a few tonight, But you guys have been practicing your still lifes, eh? I see that, nicely done.
You go to 5-star honors,
Thank you.
first image, wait, and the moment will present itself.
Okay. I'm seeing quite a lot of this author's work in salons, and very much a similar mood, feel. You've got a style, and I really appreciate that. This gentleman's becoming quite synonymous with your work, particularly the anonymity of it. So your thought processes are quite deep, and it makes it very interesting and very engaging. Good concepts, everything makes sense. I love your inclusion of the time of the gentleman, of time gone by. You take a lot of time to build up your image with elements that are all congruent and make sense, with good lighting throughout, lots of emotion. One thing maybe for consideration in this particular image, I think I may have brushed out that cloud tone off these arches. I think they could have improved it, but that's your artistic license that you presented. And I do like the image, thank you. Particularly that this gentleman's always got a suitcase somewhere in these scenes, if I'm not mistaken, right? Thank you.
Everyone gets sad sometimes.
When you strip an image of color, you accentuate the motion in the image. And again, monochrome image is very profound for your kind of storytelling. Love the use of textures, the elements that you've added into your scene. We've got a central figure, a central figure up against the wall. The shadow makes sense. There's a bag again. I think it's part of your signature. And then the spot over pale, it's disappointment. I do like your mannequin. I like the position. I like the gesture. For me, I don't like these tears coming down. I don't think they're strong. I think everything else is more than sufficient. That's just my personal feeling. And I am seeing your birds coming up again, but against this wall, I'm wondering why they would be flying there. Thank you.
The world is waiting for you.
Nice old world feel to it. Such a good understanding of chiaroscuro, the shading in the cloth, the way it falls, the gesture. It's not easy to shoot somebody that's walking away from you. I mean, this author obviously shoots for the scenes that you want to create, and I think you do a beautiful job of it. Another simple but striking, elegant color palette. The greens and the browns work so beautifully together. I see the arches, your depth in your images works very well, as does the enticement within your scene from the front leading all the way back through the back. Beautifully rendered.
Can I just ask, you said what chiaroscuro was, what is that?
Chiaroscuro. So chiaroscuro is Caravaggio. If you go look up the author Caravaggio, he is one of the old painters, painting style. And what chiaroscuro does is it uses very dark areas to obscure, and it offsets light areas. So in all his paintings, you'll see heavy use of shadows and lights. It's a beautiful way. Go and Google chiaroscuro and Caravaggio, you'll see it. It's very indicative in this author's work, particularly.
Sounds Greek or something.
No, it's Italian. And if you go, Caravaggio is an Italian artist. We traveled through Italy last year for a month. And if you go into the old churches, you see beautiful, huge artworks where chiaroscuro uses the shadows to define the light.
Thank you.
Okay.
Fly on a stone.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, it's got another hocho between its eye on the top there. Fabulous. I love macro photography. I'm not good at it, but I love seeing things that the eye doesn't naturally show us, and it's very, very hard. Interesting details, nice definition in the eyes. It doesn't have to be sharp front to back, but you've got it sharp where it matters. Could you push the contrast just a little bit to get more edge definition? I think so, but I love this silver shading that you've got coming through here is very attractive, and you've handled that highlight so nicely to define all these areas. A little bit of dodge and burn would go even further in this image, and that it's against a very bright background. Perhaps you could darken that a little bit, but I think you've done very nicely as presented. Thank you.
That's the inside.
Kibiet aanval.
Now, another bride and groom, very, very difficult to manage your exposure here, but you've got it on a beautiful gesture. Look at those wings fully extended, some lovely light coming in from the top. It's an open category, so I'm not sure if the author's added this bit of light, because if it was that bright up there, I would expect to see even more detail coming in on all these darks. That might just be your settings in camera, so you can always go back in post-processing and just pull out your shadows and get just a little bit more feather detail and definition in those blacks for an even higher score. Thank you.
Owl eyes.
Yeah, you cannot say that this image doesn't have immediate impact when it comes up. It's in your face. And birds flying towards you are very, very hard. You've got to be bang on the money to get this kind of detail, those fine little extra feathers within all of that. Very, very detailed, very difficult. Challenging, very challenging shot, and you can see that your exposure over here was a bit problematic now. If you're going to put this in nature, you can see that all that detail's gone, you've lost it. But if you're going to put this in open color, and I still think it's good for an acceptance, nothing stops you from cloning this area here, because that's going to count against you. And this image is far too beautiful to let anything detract, right? To go and clone in, work in this whole area here, maybe even with that heel brush, just swipe it across in little sections, try it once, try it, go back, go forward, just see how much detail you can recover, because all the rest of this image is really fabulous. If you're going to enter it in open color, you can see that you've got a green cast coming in underneath here. So you need to go and manage that grass, or this foliage element that's coming underneath your bird, and then just work that out as well. But as presented, a very high impact image. Thank you.
Bus in the snow.
Yeah, very clever. Conceptual photography, and look at that, so realistic. A bus, little elements in the background, all the little snow bits falling, the textures, the intentional blur, well lit. It doesn't look like a model, a little model toy or little model car. So this has got the potential for a lot more in terms of building sets and just going crazy with your imagination. But as presented, I think it's a very good certificate, Mary. Thank you.
Flower art.
Mm.
Yeah, if you're a purist, you're not going to enjoy this. But if you are tired of the regular Gewone photographs that are not particularly difficult to photograph, and you now want to start rendering something more artistic, something that speaks a little bit more of what you envisage, then this is the kind of thing that you attempt. And I think it's been beautifully rendered. I love the interplay again of the shadows. It creates a lot of nice form. You've got sharp focus in the middle, and then you've got artistic rendering that fills the frame all the way out. That works very, very nicely. A small little area over here that keeps drawing my eye, not because it's imperfect, but because the mottling little bits around here. It's really a very simple little thing, and obviously to also it didn't bother them. But if it were my image, I would go back and I would just fix that little area and render it similar to all the others. But as presented, well done.
Powder in the air.
Okay, it took me a little bit of time to understand what I was looking at here. It's two brushes. I see that now. This top one is well lit, so it was easy discernible to see we've got a makeup brush with all this yellow, and for some reason it just wasn't well defined enough. I first thought I was looking at a glass, didn't see that all on the top. So maybe a little bit of extra light down here on the bottom right hand side, because you've got the powder, you've got that splash of color, high impact, everything works really, really well. You just want to define this area on the right hand side, and your image would be even higher scoring. In terms of getting it really clean, like you've done up here, there's a few little elements here, that little dot, this little one, the section down here, there's something down there that's extremely bright, those 4 dots, and that one. Just clean those up so that you don't give any judge any reason to not give you the high marks that this deserves. Well done.
Roberton Mountain Sea. Oh, sorry.
Mountain Sea.
Roberton Mountain Sea. It's just spelled as Mountain Sea.
Oh,
It's me when I enter images at 5 to 12 at night for salons. And autocorrect. Autocorrect often does that to us. Beautiful scene. We wish you were here. You feel the image leads you in all the way from this little pathway here through. You want to go and explore those little houses, nice brown tree at the top, and all the drama in the clouds in the background works very, very nicely. In terms of how you could improve the image, green color cast through your image. If you look at the sand here, there's elements of green coming in here, and that we know should be a brownie, maybe yellow, but not this kind of green that's come through on your image here. I don't mind that this is bright, because in the overall scene it works nicely. And then in these mountains here, you may have pushed your blues a little bit. If you haven't, and that's the way it is presented, I would go back and I would pull the blues back a little bit in terms of vibrance or saturation. And I would rather work in black clouds, grays, blacks, dark, ominous, and burn these colors in to get even more drama in your scene. But I enjoyed good shutter speed, lovely storytelling. Well done.
All your comments is on different.
Yes, we did pick up that there might be a little bit of a green overcast and slight
highlights issue.
issue maybe on the projector, but we couldn't change it halfway because then half the people would have been exposed to changes and the others not. So we just left it as is.
Yes,
I'll pick it up the mic.
yes. No, definitely.
Skin, yeah, the skin colouring on a lot of them is not, okay. Well, look, you guys know your own worth, right?
That's the only time we pick it up on our own work.
On your
Yeah,
own work,
that's
you
true.
know it. You know, so hopefully I'm not giving you the wrong info, but we know that this can never be green.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can you go back to the makeup brush? Look at the blacks,
Sorry?
the makeup brush. Look at the blacks at the top. You see the green,
Yeah, you can see some green in it.
the black's not pure black, it's green.
That's the green cast we're talking about that's
Yeah,
coming
that's
through.
Yes.
Coming through.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Okay. So we'll just do a recalibration next time.
I think I talk a little bit long for that.
Next
right?
one is Kudubu.
Beautiful. You know, tenebrism, not everybody likes tenebristic backgrounds. Just to tell you, tenebristic is pure black, no information. But what it really does is it makes whatever your subject matter is pop right out from it. And if it's lit very nicely, you get a very proud, very dramatic, very impactful portrait. And that's what you've got here. This kudu, the coloration is beautiful, light in the eyes. You can tell by its age, it's a mature bull. And then all the details on the back, the whites are handled very nicely. Super portrait. I do enjoy what you've done. Just perhaps one little thing. This border is quite bright and you don't need to see it. I need to see where the edge is here just to say to you, sure, you could have cut it out. But go down to 1 pixel and go down to 80, or a very dark gray. Because right now, what you've actually done is you've contained this. It almost feels like I'm looking at it through a bar. Okay, make it very light so it's barely noticeable, and that's going to serve you better. Thank you.
Understood.
Making dust.
These rally shots, I always wonder where people are standing, and I hope you've got a very, very long lens. Great vantage point, because we now know that this monster of a car is coming towards us, and you feel like you're in the way. So I'm part of the picture, and that creates the impact and the drama, and it works very, very nicely. Good motion in the wheels are turned slightly sideways, sharp where it needs to be, lots of detail. The dust and the grass and the winter fields all flying all over, that works nice. For a PJ shot, there's nothing that you can do about that background. But what you can do is when you're out in these scenes, you're going to scout your background, right? You may not know where all the cars are going to come through, but after the first car, the fifth car, the 10th car, try and eliminate as much of the extraneous detail, those pylons at the back, that very white, bright car, because that's going to detract from your image to a degree. I'm going to give you the benefit, or I have given you, sorry, would you reset me? Thank you. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on this particular image, that I see a very clear line that's running all the way down here. I don't know what happened in your edit process, but just go back and work that out. Thank you.
Number 801.
Okay, background better managed, all the same comments, nice clarity in your image, dust all up, lots of action, nice scene. I'm not going to comment again on the weird color that's coming through. I think we've discussed that enough in the images. A slower shutter speed would have given you more in this particular scene, but for me, I'm seeing all the action in the dust, and that's enough. Some judges want to see these wheels really spinning, but if I'm seeing dust, these wheels are spinning. This is not a static car, right? I've often mentioned it in terms of these rally shots. Don't be fooled to think that you can just capture the dust in camera and it's enough. go back. If you've got a ready shot, you need to dodge and burn. Dodge and burn those plumes, make them really high impact. Do selective masking, push your contrast so that those plumes are not just in the scene, those clouds of dust, they're actually part of the story and they bring the drama. Thank you.
Eyes.
That's close up and personal. Beautiful eyes. Lovely subject matter, clearly defined. The eyes are contained between that blue at the bottom and then the lovely structure that you've got in those eyebrows. That works really nice. Nice makeup to complement it. The whites are white. And you've got the catch lights by virtue of the strip light box that you've used to light the model. I am a stickler for little things like spots, like skin blurs. You've got a lot of excess makeup spill in here. And this is work that you've actually got to go back. Her eyes are very dark under here and over there. And you need to just spend a little bit of time in taking those out. You do not want, you've got a beautiful model. Everything about her is absolutely stunning. But you don't want to show these black rings underneath, those lines, those spots, dots, dots, all that little bit up on the top. And then that even skin tone, you've got red tones down here at the bottom, and then you've got, listen, nobody's got perfect skin, but you want to present her in the best way you possibly can. I wonder if it would have been better as she was looking across at us, a big pond, across at us, instead of out of the frame that way, could she be taking a longer sweep down this way? I think that could have strengthened the image. Or you could do a Fraser and cut out just one eye so that my eye's not bouncing between left and right and left and right and left. Just cut out one eye, and then I'm inclined to say I would lose this right eye and I would cut your image and I would use this left portion of that eye. Thank you.
Luca.
What a beautiful little cherub. Honestly, those cheeks are so sweet. The light in the eyes is really beautiful. The pose of the hands, that messy little head. This is a beautiful little child. And cherub, the cherub nature that has been captured well. I like the textures at the bottom. They actually create a neutral surface base so that my eye goes straight up from the bottom up onto his hands. And then look at that little beautiful face. It's really, really pretty. Lots of blood flow happens in the hands. And you can see the hands are very pink. And when they're brought up close to his face, what it's actually done is made this face look very white. So now you have to go back and you've got to tone, you're at 5-star. So you've got to tone those hands in. Either you're going to make the hands lighter, which is not going to look natural. So you've got to bring in more color into that face. And I'm not talking unrealistic, because then you're going to lose the pop of color in these cheeks. But this highlight area under here and that highlight area, you need to go back and manage with luminosity masks and have a look at that. And then if you look at the top here, there's a little bit of blue coming in on that little head, which sometimes also happens with children in terms of blood flow. So you think there isn't a lot of work in portraits, but it's actually not a genre which is a McKendrick, just go and shoot it. You've got the lighting right, you've shaped it right. Now you need to control the shine, balance the color in the hands. That's what's going to take you from a good gold all the way up until calm. And this image really deserves even higher scores. Thank you.
It's the sunrise.
Beautiful time of day to be shooting. And the foliage is what is just so lovely here. Yes, it's a busy scene. It's not a question that at all. It is a very busy scene. You've got lots happening in the foreground. you've got trees, you've got shrubs, but you've got a bit of a triangle. I'm going through the image where I look at it. I go from left and then I turn up, I go to the top, I follow the light, I follow the mountains, and then my daughter calls in Jesus rays. Do you see the Jesus rays? Now, Jesus rays, you cannot add into a photograph. It just never looks natural. But when it comes in and it filters through the foliage, it's got a quality that I don't believe I can reproduce. But when it's natural like this, it's just sublime. Well done. Am I right, Rickus? That's how you captured it. You didn't add it in.
No, I can't.
Me neither. Arnold probably could.
Maybe.
I wish I could.
Just got to filter for the best. Got 7 photos, 13s.
If you go back to that last one, please. The composites are good, the portrait is good, the product shot is good. It's just a beautiful moment captured, a beautiful scape, a very proud tree, and I think for tonight it's my winner. Thank you.
This is Maltese. Yeah, van die theme insluit. Just give me a moment. I'm picking the best junior.
Oh, the best junior. Petite plate.
Van die beste.
Well, hang on, let me see.
The 15.
Oh yes, that one. What thing is it?
If there's just one thing, the author may not tell everybody that that's a cell phone pick, right? Okay? Promise.
It's outstanding.
Even though it is, it makes no difference. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
beautiful. Fantastic.
Okay, best of junior, well done.
Very well done, Anton.
Nice.
Okay, and then on senior side, 4-star, 5-star, 5-star honors.
Is reg. Hy sal aansluit. Hm? Right. Just hang on a second. Sy nie daar nie. Is daar. Ah, sorry. I need to.
All right, we've got 4 images for best of senior. That includes our theme.
Okay. It's going to be this one all alone, please.
Nice.
Well done, nice to see you. And then just one last one that we do normally is between this one and the junior for the rest of the evening.
Sorry. As good as this one is, that one's top class for me, sorry. It's just the immediate impact of that tongue. It's superb.
Testing. Testing. Dat was junior. Oh, dat was er.
Okay, well done. Okay, we did pick up there was a little bit of a cast or something coming from the projector, but we did not realize it until we've actually come across some images that presented that way, until we were actually notified. But we'll address it with the calibration and the spider setup before we start next club evening. And then just from the club, Natasha, I think I know pretty much how we can actually say thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
For your efforts. Much appreciated. So we see you all next month.
Nee, they're not there.